Hi, what's going on guys? This is Alfred from Practical Code Academy. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to create a text background animation. As you can see here, we have a text in the middle of the screen. This text have animated fire background. It also have a reflection effect. And finally, we have this button here. When we hover over it, as you can see, the brightness get increased of the button. That's all guys. I hope you will enjoy this project and let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and open our project folder with Visual Studio Code. Inside this folder right now, it's an empty index.html, an empty style sheet, and the background that we're going to use for the project, which is the fire background. You're going to find a link in the description for the source code of this project. You can go ahead and download it. I'm going to start with the index.html. I'm going to generate a boilerplate using Emmet. I'm going to type an exclamation mark, press tab, and I'm going to give it a title of CSS text background animation. Inside my body, I'm going to have a div with a class of container. Inside the container, I'm going to have an h1 tag. And you can put any text you want here. However, I'm going to put the word subscribe. And I'm going to give it a class of text. And I'm going to copy this h1 tag one more time. And the second one here for the reflection effect. So I'm going to add the reflect class. Finally, I'm going to add the button here. I'm going to put the subscribe text to it too. That's it for the markup. I'm going to save the file, open it with my live server. And this is how it looks like right now. And before we do styling, let's link our styling sheet. So I'm going to do a link tag, style.css, save it. I'm going to open the styling sheet. I'm going to reset the browser default as a first step. So I'm going to do margin 0, padding 0, box sizing, border box. And now I'm going to select the body tag. I'm going to do font family. I'm going to do Arial. The background color, black background. To see actually the text, I'm going to temporarily put the color as white. And now I want to center this container in the middle of the screen here. To do so, I'm going to use flex, display flex, justify content, center, align items to the center. However, it's not centered yet. And the reason for that, I'd never set the height of the body. To do so, I'm going to do height of 100 viewport height. And once I do so, as you can see, it's centered and it's in the middle of my screen. Next, I will start styling my container. Container. For the container, I want to position it relative. I want to give it a height of 600 pixel, width of 1000 pixel. And I'm going to give it a background of our image, background URL, which is the image called background.jpg. Once I do so, as you can see here, we have the fire image as a background for the container. However, it's so bright, so I need to add an overlay. To do that, I'm going to use linear gradient here for my background. And I'm going to use an RGBA value color of 0, which is a black, 0, 0, 0.7. So it's a black with an opacity of 0.7. And I need a second one, so for the linear gradient. So I'm going to copy the same value, paste it here, and put a comma between the linear gradient and my background image. Once I save that, as you can see now, the background is more darker. Next, I want to text align, center, everything. I want to do a box shadow of 0, 0, 10 pixels, orange, red. That's going to give me the box shadow around it here. We can actually pump it up a little bit, like 50 or 20 is good. And if you want, you can add also an border. So let me show you. So if you can do border 2 pixels, solid with the same color, which is orange red, that will add a border to your container. So I'll keep the border. That's it for the container. Now let's style the text itself here. So I'm going to select the text class. And for the text, I want to do position, absolute. Once I save that, as you can see here, both texts, they are on top of each other for both headers that I have in here, for H1 here and the second one. Both of them on top of each other because I put the position as an absolute. I'm going to do top 20% to put them down from the top 20%. I want to do font size of 5 rem. And I'm going to give it a width of 100% of its container. And that will bring it to the middle. Now I want to change the background of the text itself here. Background, URL. And I'm going to give it the background of the image, which is background.jpg. As you can see here, the background, it's a background for the text. However, I want to mix this background and actually put it inside the text. In order to do so, you need to use the background clip property and use the text value for it. And also I'm going to do the WebKit version of it. Text. When you save that, nothing happened. And the reason for that, the text must be transparent in order to see the effect. Keep that in mind. So we need to change the color of the text to be transparent. And once I save that, now as you can see, the fire has get clipped inside the text. Now let's change the text itself. I'm going to do font weight 900, text transform, uppercase. I'm going to do some letter spacing of 15 pixels. And once I save that, it look like this. That's it for the text. Now let's work on the reflection, which I'm having a class of reflect. It's also going to have a position of absolute. Let me scroll down here so you can see. Going to have a position of an absolute. The top will be 35% from the top. As you can see, now we can see it. So now we need to transform it. And I'm going to give it a perspective of 500 pixels and rotate it around the x-axis by 230 degrees. And also, as you can see here, when I rotate it, the E is not aligned on the reflection, and also the S, and most of this letter are not aligned. As you can see here, the I is not aligned. To align it exactly on top of each other, I'm gonna scale it a little bit. I'm gonna do a scale 1.1. I increase the scale of the reflection, and now everything's aligned. Finally, I'm gonna give it an opacity of 0.3. Now I'm gonna start with the button itself. For the button, I'm gonna give it a position of absolute. And I want to position it from the bottom here, 20% to the top. So I'm going to do bottom, 20% to the top. I want to do left, 50%. And I want to transform it, translate across X, negative 50%. And that will center it exactly in the middle of the container. Now I want to give it some padding, which is I'm going to give it top and bottom as 1 rem, left and right as 2 rems. I also want to change the background, so I'm going to do background. Also going to give it the same background we having, which is background.jpg. So I save that. I don't like the default border, so I'm gonna do border none. I'm gonna do border radius of 5 pixels. Also, I'm gonna do cursor pointer, and I wanna take out the outline. So the outline none. I'm gonna change the color of the text to be white, the font size to be 1.2 rem, and the text transform to the uppercase, letter spacing to the 3 pixels. Okay, that's it for the button. Now I need to work on the animation of the background and the animation of the text and the animation of the button. The animation is pretty simple. I'm going to use keyframes. I'm going to call it a fire animation. And all what actually happening at 0% of the animation, I want to set the background position to 100% x-axis and 0% on the y-axis. And I'm going to copy this. And at the end, or 100% of the animation, I want to reach up to the 100% of the y-axis. And when I save that, nothing happened because I didn't assign the animation to any of the elements yet. So I'm going to go to the container animation, the fire animation. I'm going to give it a 3 seconds. I want to do linear and infinite because I want the animation to keep going. And once I save that, as you can see, the backgrounds start to move here. Next, for the text, I'm going to apply the same animation. So I'm going to copy this line. I'm going to put it to the text itself. As you can see now, the text animation start. I'll do the same thing for the button here. I'm going to paste the same line, but it's happening so fast for the button. So I'm going to change the time of the animation here. So let's example 5 seconds. Yeah, that's much better. I need to work on the hover effect for the button. So I'm going to select the button. And I'm going to do the hover class of the button. And once I hover over the button, what I need to do, I want to increase the brightness of this button. So I'm going to use the filter property with the brightness function, and I'm going to set it to 2. Any number you put it here and you increase it, that will increase the brightness of it. As you can see, when I hover over it right now, the brightness happening so fast, it gets increased. I don't want this to happen instantly, so I need to add a transition to the button. I'm going to go to the button here. I'm going to put transition, and the transition will happen in half a second, 0.5 second. And this is transition for the filter property. Once I save that, and now when I hover over it, very nice and smooth. Well, that's it, guys. I hope you like the project. And if you do like it, hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed to our channel, please subscribe now so you can get the latest videos.